Welcome at Le Bobber, where fishing is a art.
Whoops. Oh, there it goes. Do you see the fish?
Yeah, I see it.
It seems like there's some kind of natural flow. I have to admit, the bobbers in this skin pack look pretty crappy.
Yeah. I was so hoping that we actually at some point got a update to Sortex, but I don't think this is not gonna happen. I think.
Yeah.
I can understand in a way that it would like to keep up with like the new stuff. It's not really like the base textures are there. I mean the jungle wood, the slabs. But now you have the bamboo, you have the bell, and so you constantly have to recreate every single thing in the game and match it with the theme your pack is already on. So
Yeah, it's definitely not a trivial job. And certainly, I mean, look at Mojang or Mojang itself. They they have so many new items, so many new variations added to items. Oh wow, got a saddle, and it's a lot to keep up with.
Whoops. Oh well. Yeah. But then again, it's the problem is that, you know, if you now need to like do 1 or 3 major releases of the game to fix a skin pack, I can imagine that it's just, you know, nearly undoable work with so many changes.
Right. Particularly if you have these high resolution packs as well too, you have a lot more detail. And look at some of the more popular Minecraft channels on YouTube. They don't even bother. They just use the default. It might just be too hard to keep up with. I like the higher res skin packs. I think they look they look better.
Yeah. Paul, we gotta do.
What?
I'm gonna change back to. Oh dear God. Oh, the house. Oh, horrible. I'm in default pack.
All right, now you've got me curious.
The bobber looks even shitty.
Oh geez, worse.
It's the same. It's the same shitty one.
Oh geez. All right, hang on a second here. Resource packs, flows HD. We'll turn that off. We'll leave default on.
The puffer fish has at least 16 pixels.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
and
no
that's
joke.
the game. Oh wow.
Yeah. This is retro.
Oh god, yeah. So, all right, that tells me that this flows HD doesn't even set a bobber skin, so it goes back to the default to render.
I have a curse of vanishing, unbreaking tree rod. Oh, damn it.
Not bad. All right, I'm gonna turn this back off. I can't take this.
I know, right? But the problem is there's so many good texture packs that are supported, but I really love the smooth.
Yeah.
I actually do this. If my game crashes, it's my fault.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So it works. I put back Sortex on the 1.22.
Oh, how?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
So far it renders bamboo, so I'm good. And the bobber looks still shit.
Oh jeez.
At least the water and the UI doesn't look that crappy.
That's good.
The downside is I do have. Ooh. I'm gonna quickly check something. The signs are all the same texture again.
Hmm.
The smoker does have a texture for some reason, which is odd. The bell has a texture.
Oh, that is weird.
Oh, this is so much. Oh, the lanterns are there. The lanterns are just the ones from the default texture pack.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
The smoothness of that on the iPhone.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if what we're sciencing here.
Yeah.
If I do this, I'm just trying here. Sorry for all the loading screens. Oh, yeah.
What?
Okay, boom. Do you still have that modified Vortex pack? The 1.13 one?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you load that one in, but make sure that it's on the top, and then put the flow one like underneath it, and then have default underneath that. You can have good lanterns with sword tags. So everything that isn't in sword tags will be taken over by
flows.
flows, and what isn't in flows will be
from default. Okay. All right. Trying it out.
This is nice to the iPhone.
Okay, loading. Oh, hey, this is nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can deal with this. Bobbers are still crap, but this is okay.
I'm so tempted to edit the bobber and just make it like a letter B for bobber.
Hilarious.
Or to send everybody a bobber for Christmas.
Aw, nice.
I don't know if you fish or not, but you get you get a bobber and you get a bobber and everybody gets a bobber.
Yeah, you make your own texture pack, which has just the bobber.
Yeah, hey, you could do that.
Yeah, why not?
It's like
make sure it's just at the top.
And yeah.
Or at least above the default.
You know the funny word. Want to hear something interesting? We make fun of bobber, right? But in Dutch, a float or a bobber is called a dobber, and that's no joke.
It works out.
That's seriously no joke.
Oh, I love it.
I must say that I find this much more relaxing, this texture pack.
Yeah, this is a great one.
But this is just like, how it should be. But you get used to a texture pack really quickly, especially if you start building on a house. How certain materials look.
Yeah.
And then you change texture pack and you go like, what on earth did I make? Why does it look so horrible?
Right. Yeah.
But it's the same with when it comes to if you have like nostalgia games from like old games.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as a kid, at least you played it and it was really cool. And then you play it now and you just go like,
what the hell was I thinking?
The main character is 4 pixels. You go like,
yeah. I know, it's crazy. I got a gift many years ago of a Atari 2600 joystick, but inside it had like 16 of the classic games. It was all built in, and it ran on a battery. And all you had to do was just connect it to a TV, and it had this main menu. Then it was the classic Atari 2600 games that I grew up with, like Combat and Breakout and stuff like that. And and while cleaning earlier this year, I found that thing and I thought, oh, cool, I should play those games again. And I started them up and I could play each of them like for maybe 60 seconds before I thought, oh my God, this is just awful.
Yeah, but I mean, I grew up with, like, my dad found it very, very, very important. And when I was a kid, that we had a computer, so, I could learn to use a computer. And of course, as a kid, nothing is more like fun than playing games on it as well.
Oh, you bet, yeah.
But then we came up to the point where, like, we went from like CGA graphics to EGA. So we had 16 whopping
16 colors.
16!
Yes.
And then we went to VGA, which had 265 different colors.
256, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're both old guys talking now. I mean, yeah. But
yes.
no, but back then, like, 4 colors on CGA.
Oh man, that was the shiz.
Yeah, but you take it. I mean, back then it was really cool. You could play like the little card game where you had to dodge certain objects, which was so random that if you did it 20 times, it was 20 times the same. You could easily just guess, okay, left, 1, 2, right, 1, left, 1, 2, 3, right. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Then we came up to the point where, like we got VGA graphics. Then the magical system of the CD-ROM drive appeared.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
640 megabytes. Yeah, don't laugh. On one disc.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Then games like Myst came out, which was sort of photorealism rendered.
Yeah.
Where you could not really like real-time walk, you could click and then a different scene got loaded
you go through a little slow dissolve between each scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you were unlucky and you had a slow
but it was so
drive,
beautiful.
Yeah, it looked so good. Especially the animations, they were like 1 frame a second. So there wasn't any smoothness in it. But they did a remake of that and called it, I think it was called Real Mist or something, where you could actually like walk like you could do like in a modern game.
Oh, jeez.
Says the person that's playing Minecraft like with blocks and shit. Yeah, but that was like was mind blowing then, and I can remember that. Engine wise, when it comes to 3D shooters, I'm not gonna even call it 3D, but we started out with like games like Doom. It wasn't 3D. It was just like, if it's hard to believe nowadays, Jesus. If you had like one of those signs, for example, that you planted down, if you would walk around it, the sign would always face yourself, always.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
always,
they were projected textures instead of just like an entity in the game.
Yeah, the games would look really bad. You would get too close to something, and it would just be like, "Oh, that's a cardboard cutout of someone."
Yeah, exactly. But that evolved throughout like different engines, and I remember that at some point Unreal came out. It was on a fully new engine, Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Water and nature looked so good.
Yeah.
If you look at it now, you go like, okay, did my graphic card just break? But it looked good back then.
Yeah,
and then we got in a game called Far Cry. Yes, Far Cry 1. The beach scenes on that, stunning. Blue oceans, sandy beaches, jungle, and it looks so good.
Yeah.
But then again, you had to have a really, really beefy computer because if somebody stepped into the water, it created the splash.
Yeah.
Imagine shooting a gun at the water; it would crash your computer if you had a shitty one. But it was something.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Pretty amazing what they were able to get out of computers back then. I mean, going back like again to the 16 color days, and they would use tricks like dithering, making a crosshatch pattern of two colors.
Oh yeah.
To give the illusion of another color which wasn't even in the palette.
Best part of those was if you had like a really if you had one of those computers with like a turbo switch. If you
the turbo switch.
Yeah, if you put the turbo switch down and they did the dithering with the two colors, you sometimes could see like they either flick, like they broke it down like in a 2x2. And then use the colors diagonally. Oh, we have an invader coming.
Oh, hey.
But they then either like if you put down the turbo off.
Yeah.
You went from like 8 megahertz to 4 megahertz. You could actually see it flicker between both. Yeah, that was good.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But it's in a way we now can laugh about the fact that you had a 4 megabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
You didn't need any more. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, what could you possibly fill that space with?
But you know, I'm really happy that I actually was, you know, it sounds really, this sounds corny, but then I'm old enough and it is that I could, you know, had the enjoyment and the privilege to enjoy the whole increasement of I remember that getting after the first XT computer, a whopping 8 megahertz, I got a 100 megahertz processor.
Wow.
Yeah, but the problem was back then, in the there was this that claims not in the beginning when they came out. There was this little loader called DOS4GW.
Oh God.
That was basically a runtime loader which prevented a game that was designed for a certain clock speed.
Yeah.
Say it was designed for 66 megahertz, but you had a 100 megahertz processor. The game would run at like a much faster pace. There was no limitation. The game didn't demand it. No, your system gave the resources to the game.
Yep. Yeah.
And that loader prevented that your fast processor was like flipping over the game speed and make it unplayable.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Goodness.
I got a mending unbreaking tree rod. I got a curse of vanishing rod. I'm gonna throw that away. I got 2 more unbreaking tree rods. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh wow. I was just gonna say, take a look at my bobber. I've had no fish or anything bite at it for several minutes now. I think it's glitched.
Oh! Did I hit you?
Ouch.
It might be because that you're fishing right between the stuff that's in the water. Could you? Sorry.
Maybe. That's okay. I'll recover.
Ah!
Oh, what was that? Look. Got some boots out of it.
The boots hooked and you didn't.
Ah, it's weird. Yeah, it's the stuff that I was throwing out. Okay, so I'm going to throw in this direction.
Yeah. Might be wise. Oh!
Now I'll see if I can catch that vanishing rod.
Bum. Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Take a look at this.
What?
It looks so smooth!
Oh, wow, look at that ender pearl.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but the runtime loaders and there was the part where you had to use MemMaker to like for at least for DOS to make.
Yeah.
If you wanted to run the game, what it basically did was it was in a way the most shittiest idea ever. it randomly disabled stuff you wanted to load in, like drivers for your CD-ROM drive or your sound card or whatever, to make a tiny tad little bit more room to run that game in the freaking 4 megabytes of RAM that you have. You know?
Yeah. So crazy.
As said, I am so happy that I had the privilege, almost I'd say call it, to have, like, where you had to, if you wanted to run a game, you had to run MemMaker, reboot, run MemMaker again. No, you're like you're like 2 kilobytes, 4 kilobytes less in memory, and then you had to load highmem.sys to make sure that you could use all your memory and shit like that. Oh, it was good.
My God. Yeah. I mean, you really had to be a hard, pedal to the metal, bare metal system administrator to get some of these programs to actually run.
Yeah, but I back then it sounds really weird, but you had to had some. You need to be able to tinker with your computer to get certain stuff just running. I mean, I remember that when sound cards came around, I had one of those Graphics ultrasound cards. Mm-hmm. And the sound of them was amazing, but the downside was a lot of programs weren't designed to run such a specific card. Yep. Sound Blaster 16. That was the card to go, the go-to card, because that's what everybody generally had.
It's the widest supported, yeah.
But then Graphics came with like the ultimate idea. There was this sort of shadow driver that you could load, so it emulated to be a Sound Blaster.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, yes, this is memory lane all over, guys. Sorry if you're not interested, please skip this video. Yes, we're talking about old computer stuff, and we really enjoyed it.
You can fast forward.
Yeah, no, but we really enjoyed. You had to assign IRQ addresses and DMA addresses to hardware.
Yeah.
What it basically was, what you had to tell your computer, okay, my sound card is in this hardware, using this hardware address with this memory and processor bus. But if you fuck that up, pardon my English, either your system would crash if you were lucky, or if you're unlucky, it would run very wonky. Meaning that if you had to emulate, you had to have spare addresses. But keep in mind that IRQ didn't go up. I think it went to 9 or 11, if I'm correct. And DMA only went to like 3 or 4, starting at 0. But that meant that, your CD-ROM drive had a DMA and IRQ address. Your sound card had one. If you wanted to emulate, there wasn't much room in your system that actually could, basically make it happen. And then the fun part was, if you had a stubborn CD-ROM drive that, claimed a certain address by default, and you couldn't tinker the driver to get on another hardware address.
Yeah, then you're stuck. Yeah.
No, it simply would crash. It was very simple back then. It either worked or crashed. It was, there wasn't a halfway there thing.
And heaven forbid you have COM ports that you actually needed for something, or your parallel port for your printer.
Yeah, but keep
each of those needing their own IRQs.
Yeah, but keep in mind that if you had fancy later on fancy hardware that runs on your parallel drive port, it had like an extension port, like a internal loop through, but that wouldn't mean that if, say, you want to have a fancy scanner running on your parallel port, but you also had a zip drive. Yeah, zip drive was one of those things that either had some sort of, well, it's not really a floppy disk. It was either 100 or 250 megabytes. Oh,
No,
of
it's a lot of
data.
space.
But yeah, the problem was that drive needed to be powered because other like the link through in that device wouldn't work and stuff like that. It was yeah. Not to mention hand scanners. Remember those where you had to like
Oh, jeez. Where you actually drag it across your piece of paper?
you didn't have flat drive.
Yeah.
No. What you had was a device that was about the width of your current smartphone height right now.
Yeah.
And you had to drag it over the text. But you can imagine that if you shifted from left to right a little bit, how the image would look because it would like distorted. And
Plus,
then,
you had to keep a constant speed as well.
yeah, that as well, because else it would like make a big blur as well. It was, yeah.
That was fun.
But I have a new topic for a new episode. Like and subscribe. See you in the next episode. If you want to have more